Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Lymph Lounge, the podcast about cultivating a state of flow in our bodies and in our lives. I'm your host, Genevieve, lymph naturopath and founder of the Lymph Initiatives, a well-aging and longevity institute specializing in lymphatic health solutions. The Lymph Lounge is part of those initiatives where you can access a collection of various topics ranging from lymphatic health to well-aging, environmental health, and more. It is available on Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify podcast platforms, as well as my own website, lymphinitiatives.com, in the form of a blog post and also on YouTube. So make sure you go ahead and follow and turn on notifications depending on which platform you are on. So let's sit back and relax because today we are talking about herbal teas. We are also going over 6 lessons that the lymphatic system can teach us and the difference between a toxin and a toxicant and why the difference matters. This week's Weekly Thoughts is about herbal teas. Herbal teas have been consumed for thousands of years and are one of the most popular beverages in the world. Drinking tea is certainly something I encourage as it boasts many benefits. It's a way to slow down and appreciate the present moment while engaging in a simple yet meaningful activity. And this is something I find is missing so much in our modern lifestyle, is to stop and find joy in the simple things. And something as simple as making tea. So to take the time to slow down and enjoy the process. And tea as well can be a way to explore different cultures and traditions, as each type of tea and tea ceremony has its own unique history and significance. And I encourage you actually to look more into that if you're interested. But tea has so many benefits for example, it can help increase your water intake during the day as well, which is important when it comes to lymph flow, of course. And tea comes in different varieties, such as you have green tea, black tea, white tea, rooibos, oolong. There's many different types, and teas can also be combined with herbs for additional wellness benefits, or even dried fruits for taste. One of the main benefits of tea is that it contains high levels of antioxidants, which helps to protect the body from damage, of course, caused by free radicals. The levels of catechins in green tea can range from 30 to 42%, which is catechins is the antioxidant in green tea. So 30 to 42% of its dry weight. It's a lot. Another compound in green tea, we're going to stay on the green tea bandwagon here, L-theanine, which is a natural amino acid that is found in green tea, is known to have brain protective powers as well as calming and relaxing effects, and is often used to reduce stress and anxiety without causing drowsiness. Some types of tea, such as black tea and oolong tea, contain compounds that can act as prebiotics. Prebiotics are a type of fiber that feed the beneficial bacteria in the gut, helping them to grow and thrive. So just a simple act as drinking green tea during the day can actually help your gut, depending on what tea it is. Other types of tea, such as chamomile and peppermint, can help soothe the digestive system and reduce inflammation. So overall, drinking tea in moderation can definitely be a beneficial addition to, of course, a healthy diet and lifestyle, and even gut health. I'll just add a little side note here that it's important to note that excessive consumption of tea, like anything in wellness, and for tea, especially if you add sugar in milk, I don't recommend that. That can have negative effects. So overconsumption or adding other things in it, such as milk or sugar, right? Too much of a good thing can also be bad, and moderation is key with most wellness practices. But what I'd like to chat a little bit about today is a question that I get the most often when it comes to herbal teas, because I do sell, of course, herbal teas in my clinic, and I am really big on teas. And the question I get a lot is, what's the difference between an herbal tea and a supplement? Do I need both? Do I need just one or the other? Because you often see the same ingredients in both. And how do you fit both or one or the other in your routine? And my answer to this is, I view herbal teas as more of a lifestyle support for short-term issues or short-term benefits, while supplements are more of a long-term support to fill in the gaps in diet or gaps caused by lifestyle habits. So for example, maybe instead of an energy drink, you can have a tea with green mate in it to help give a kick of energy without the negative side effects on the body. So instead of reaching for high caffeine, high sugar drinks, you could have instead a type of tea to help give you natural energy. Or maybe instead of over-the-counter sleep aids, you can reach for a chamomile tea. Or maybe after a big meal, you can reach for a digestive tea with pear, for example, in it, instead of anti-acid. Or like I said earlier, if you need to up your intake of fluids or you're kind of tired of drinking plain water, you could have a diluted lemongrass tea with pieces of dried cucumber in it. So there are a lot of options to help support a better quality of life in everyday life and to provide alternatives to popular over-the-counter medications that we tend to reach for easily and that have potential negative effects. So this is how I view tea. And I hope this helps make sense of why teas exist and how you can fit them in your everyday life. Now let's move on to the main topic of the show, again this week on lymphatic health. So I shared a reel a while back where I just had a realization that a lot of the things that support the lymphatic system or lymphatic health are misunderstood or underappreciated or overlooked. And I want to discuss this further by expanding on all of the lessons the lymphatic system can teach us. The lymphatic system is full of wisdom, and here's all the lessons that the lymphatic system has been teaching me the past 10 years. The first one is, things don't have to be aggressive to work. One of the hardest aspects of lymphatic health, I say it all the time, one of the toughest aspect to wrap our head around when we start supporting regeneration and detoxification through lymphatic health is that the gentler, the better. Your lymphatic system does not cooperate well when there is inflammation or stress. Going aggressive often comes with stress and inflammation in your tissues and organs, and that is counterproductive because it's the lymphatic system that has to go and calm those down, the stress and inflammation. And when it is busy doing that, well, there is not a lot of resources left for regeneration and detoxification. And don't get me wrong, we all cave at some point with quick fixes. We're all humans, and I will never judge someone that tries a quick fix, because sometimes we need to go through that to remind us of what's important, what works for us. And this is what I find the lymphatic system helps to remind us of, is it doesn't have to be aggressive to work. So sometimes we just need a reminder. So give yourself a little bit of grace if you've tried quick fixes or aggressive approaches to try to get results faster in the past, because we're all human. So that is for the first lesson. The second lesson is simplicity. And this is actually the second hardest aspect of lymphatic health, is that very often it's the simple things that win. The gentlest things and the simple things. Often with the lymphatic system and lymphatic health, we need to go back to basics, to the foundations, to the building blocks of detoxification and regeneration. Having breakfast within 30 minutes of waking up. Doing a castor oil pack at night, even though you don't know how it works and you don't know if it works or if it's beneficial. Meditating, deep breathing, doing less, slowing down, thinking of nothing, right? It's the things that a lot of people resist, and I think it's because it can't be that easy, right? But yes, it can be when you are harnessing the powers of your own body through the lymph. The third lesson that the lymphatic system taught me is that frequency and energy healing is important for health. The lymphatic system responds extremely well to frequency, energy medicine, and vibration. Oriental medicine understood that 2,000 and more years ago with the qi, the meridians, the acupressure points. It's a system that is fueled by frequency, energy. So the lymphatic system is fueled by frequency energy and works in the background to support your entire body, but also your spirit and your soul, which are important parts to health. It circulates through the fascia. And if you are still a skeptic to frequency, it's okay, but just know that frequency is also Wi-Fi, radio signals, MRIs, ultrasounds, and more. Frequency is already very present in our everyday lives. It's just under different names that are familiar to us. But frequency is frequency, whatever it is used to transmit sound, imaging, information, or to heal tissues. The next lesson that the lymphatic system can teach us is that our bodies are powerful. We have incredible wisdom within us. And if you stick to it long enough and you're consistent, you'll be so amazed at how powerful our bodies are. And it is very subtle too. This is why I recommend documenting your journey, all the little details, so you can look back and see how far your body has come. Now, the next lesson that the lymphatic system taught me and can teach us, that one is big. It is to embrace the mess. So when you work with the lymphatic system, when you really focus on detoxification and regeneration, things can get messy at the beginning. When we start flushing things out, moving things in the tissues, and our bodies kickstart the regenerative process again, things can get messy. But that is usually temporary, and I find it reminds us that, oh yeah, sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. And kind of related to that, the next lesson is that things don't have to be perfect, and to stop micromanaging our bodies. You already have a system that manages where to send important information, important regeneration materials, and how and when to clean things up. All you need to do is to support that, and the rest will follow. And last but not least, the lymphatic system teaches us that everything is connected. The lymphatic system is connected to everything in our body. It even goes where blood cannot reach, right? This is the thing with the lymphatic system. When you help one area, it helps many other areas as well. One of the areas of lymphatic health, again, is drainage. And one of those drainage pathways is the colon. And when you support the colon drainage pathway, it will help with hydration, inflammation, detoxification, and will also help the liver, the kidneys, and the skin. You can just start somewhere, and a lot of the things we can do to support our lymphatic health will help no matter what you're trying to achieve. So these are all the wonderful lessons that the lymphatic system has taught me over the last 10 years that I wanted to share with you. Maybe some will stand out to you more than others, but at the end of the day, every day in my practice, my clients and also myself are reminded of those lessons, one or more of those lessons. And I hope that if you do decide to experience lymphatic drainage or working with a naturopath to help with your lymphatic health or your drainage or detoxification, that you get to be reminded of some of those lessons as well. Now for the environmental health segment of this episode, I want to talk about the difference between a toxin and a toxicant. So the phrases environmental toxins, environmental chemicals, and the word toxins, they're everywhere these days. But what do all those words actually mean? So the term environmental chemicals is a broader term that simply refers to chemicals that we are exposed to or that exist within the environment. And while it's good to remember that everything is made of chemicals and that chemicals aren't inherently harmful, the phrase typically implies chemicals that are harmful or are suspected of being harmful in some way. So one could say harmful, quote unquote, harmful environmental chemicals, to be more precise. And personally, I prefer to use the term toxicant because it describes chemicals that have the potential to make you sick or cause death more slowly and in different ways than toxins. Now, toxins. A toxin is a naturally occurring organic poison produced by metabolic activities of living cells or organisms. For example, the toxin produced by a snake or a spider, which will probably kill you. Or parasites or bacteria in your intestines, which are, the toxins they produce are at a low enough potency and dose that it just makes us sick or kills us slowly or causes, chronic disease slowly. Another good example of that is the toxin they use in Botox, produced by certain Clostridium bacteria, or even anthrax. So when you compare that to toxicants, toxicants are small amounts of man-made poisons that can be found in the environment in things like air pollution, water contamination, soil pollutants, and more. But they are also found in the products we use and buy every day, such as food, furniture, personal care products, household cleaners, etc. It's all about the low-level background exposures when we're talking about toxicants. So I feel the term toxicant is very important because it helps soften a little bit of the fear-mongering around chemicals. And I think it's good to have a category of chemicals that have the potential to make us sick in some way. And also, I find it helps to differentiate between something that will kill us fast and then something that can make us sick or kill us slowly over time. So when it comes to a toxicant, you're going to hear me use that word a lot. It's the dose that makes the poison. So it all depends on your level of exposure, the dosage we're exposed to, and the frequency of exposure, how long the chemical stays in the body, and even the potential comorbidities that can influence the effect of the specific toxicant. So I hope this helps create a more precise category of what I'm talking about when I'm saying environmental health. And as always, while good nutrition, fitness, and lowering stress and getting quality sleep, are the primary pillars of health, reducing toxic exposures is also an important step in health and wellness. And I find having a category of toxicants help remind us that we don't need to panic or feel anxious about environmental exposures, but we should be aware and do our best to lower our exposures. And this is actually one of my focus with the podcast, is to offer small bits of education on this topic, along with simple, practical suggestions to help you do just that. So there is a lot of that coming your way. So this is what I had for you today in the Lymph Lounge. Keep it flowing, everyone, and I will see you in the next episode.